Everyone, welcome back to the channel. So, I'm Todd, I'm your host, and today's video is just going to be a continuation of another video we did earlier where we were testing the Barrage, because when it was sent to me, I told them I was going to torture test it, drop it, kick it around, things like that, and you haven't seen anything on it just because I wanted to go a little while using it. Just day-to-day use, getting bounced around in the case, letting other people use it, getting their input and their thoughts. Excuse me. So, here it is. Alright, everyone remembers the Barrage. And it's good, but when it comes to any recommendations that I would put on what type of scope to run on your other, if you're in Connecticut or New York, or an AR platform in any other state, and just so everyone knows, the bolt's open and there's nothing in there. Okay, so getting back to what I was saying, it really depends on what you're going to be using it for. If you're going to be using it at the range, bench shooting, or just moving around outside, we'll call it hunting, yeah, the Barrage is really good. It's a 2.5 to 10. The drawback that I personally have, because like I said, it reminds me very much like an ACOG. So it's not a 1 power. It starts off obviously at 2.5. ACOGs are usually like a 3. But trying to clear your house. So if you're doing CQB work, going through your home with both eyes open, this really throws you off. You have to get your head right into position properly so you get the right eye box, so you can see clearly through the scope, and you're not getting any weird scope rings or anything like that. Hopefully your parallax hasn't been whacked to where it's off, so you can actually see nice and clear. But again, moving through an enclosed space such as your house, it's going to be a little more work. I guess that'd be the good word. It's going to be awkward. I think that's a better word for it. It's going to be a little more awkward driving the gun around inside the house, clearing your rooms with a powered scope. Just because if you're running with both eyes wide open, so you have a nice clean view of everything going on, you're not going to be running through a house with one eye closed, because then everything to your left side is obviously blocked out, and you know that's where your threat just happened to be coming from. You're going to get hit, and that's just, you don't do that. You keep both eyes open so you can be aware of your surroundings. But as you're moving through, you're going to have obviously everything in your left eye at 1 power, so normal. But then everything in your right eye going through this scope is going to be magnified to 2.5, assuming that you have it dialed all the way down and you don't have it set to 10. But regardless, it's going to throw you off, and you're not going to have a good field of view on your total right side because you're going to be dialed into looking through that scope. That's just me. So, CQC work, not what it's built for. Obviously, it's built for distance shooting, easily reach out to 400 yards. If you're outside, like I said, hunting, moving through the streets, obviously, if you're moving through the streets with one of these, things have gone really sideways in our country. Regardless, using one of these scopes is perfectly good for the mission, whatever mission it might be. For a more generic use, for me, and again, remember, this is just my opinion, and take that for what it's worth, I prefer the Reflex Sight. So, a nice little red dot inside, and you can have both eyes open. Obviously, it's just like looking through a piece of glass. The dot itself, you can see right there, it's on my mouth. perfectly fine, and then you can switch through all the different pips. I prefer it on just the single dot. It's easy to drive with both eyes wide open, so you're completely aware of your surroundings. It's low profile, easy to use. You know, it's a point and go. So this one happens to be dialed for 50 yards. I don't expect or anticipate having to take a shot much further. Again, working inside of a closed, confined space. So I know it basically for 50 yards, the distance between where the dot is and the barrel of the gun. If I want to hit you here, I'm going to aim up here somewhere, around the hairline. And I know I'll pop you right in the nose. So the offset is pretty predictable. It's not that bad. This one's a little bit the same, but it usually takes me 1 or 2 shots to gauge that offset, just to make sure I have it where I think it should be. This is perfect for CQC. But again, if I'm outside moving around, I'm going to want a scope like this because I'm able to reach out at a greater distance. Especially if I'm moving around outside where I'm not in a forest or anything and I need to get that good distance shot. This is what I'm going to go for. So the nice part is it's not that hard to put on. I've already marked where it goes and I know it's 0 to this. So if I ever swap out this for this, do a quick check on 0, and I should be good to go. It won't, and if it's off, it won't be that far off. So you get to make the decision. But what it boils down to is pick the right accessories you're going to need for the mission you're building it for. So that's it. You know, I mean, if you're building a gun to clear a house, Reflex Sight. If you're building a nice hunting rifle, or and the reason I keep bringing up hunting is this is chambered in 5.56 or 223. Obviously, you're not going to hunt with this, but we can get this in 308. We can get it in 300 Blackout, 6.5 Creedmoor, or all the way down. We can have them done up in 9mm, so pistol caliber. But really, who's going to run around with a pistol caliber? But to each their own. You know, some people really dig that type of thing. I'm going to go with a more like a rifle round, even though this is not a rifle. It's not an AOW. It is an other. So that's the other thing that popped into my head. So for everyone that's like, oh, Todd, it's got a brace on the back, yet you put a vertical grip on it, that's illegal. No, it's not illegal because the overall length falls under the criteria that it's not a pistol, it's not an SBR, it is other. That's what the ATF has claimed that it is. It is other. So I have to have the vertical grip on, I have to have some sort of pistol brace on for it to fall into that category. Obviously, it's got to be within the overall length, including the barrel length. The barrel length has to be 12.5 inches or more, up to it's close to like 18 inches, I think. So this just happens to be a 14-inch barrel. So I think the barrel itself is 13.7, and then with the bird cage on there, takes it out to 14. So I like 14 inches. I think it's great. It's easy to drive around inside the house. Again, that's what I built mine for. That's what I wanted mine for. So maneuvering around inside close quarters, it's easy to do a high ready and keep it out of the way, and then when I snap it out and pull it back into my shoulder, for me, it's good. So, but it's me. Again, built to what I wanted. You might be different. And I would suggest that when you buy one of these, if you buy the stock version, then obviously you start accessorizing things specifically for you. You want to make it for you. You don't want something that's generic. And every gun should have a purpose. Whether it's for long distance, up close and personal, intermediate, things like that. So, that's that. So when you buy yourself another and you're looking at optics, think to yourself, what am I going to most likely be using it for? Distance shooting, or am I going to use it for home defense inside my house, so on and so forth. Either way, like I said last time, your first upgrade should always be some sort of light unit, regardless. And whether you're getting one of these, where it's got the laser and the light combo, or you're going to be running some sort of Surefire up on a 45 with a pressure pad, doesn't really matter. I don't care what you're putting on there, as long as it's reliable and it illuminates. And I don't care if it's 500 lumens or 50,000 lumens. It's gonna light up your room or the building you're in or whatever you're doing. As long as you have enough illumination that you can see what you're doing, you're fine. You don't really need to blast them with something that melts their retinas right before you send some freedom seeds into their body. So, it's my 2 cents. You get what you want. You always pay what you get for, or you always get what you pay for. And you know, I understand. Pay once, cry once. So, but enough. All right, so that's all I gotta say. Whether it's the Barrage or it's this little Reflex Sight, they're both good sights. I've beat them up, and they both held 0. They both still work. They do what they need to do. So either one, it doesn't matter. We have them in stock. So if you're interested, come on down. Take a look in our Optic case, and we have these. We have some Rapid Strikes, which is the LPVOs you see on the other, it's FDE. We've got Reflex Sights by Firefield, and I think we have some for Sightmark. They're the same company. They're under the same top corporation, both brands. So it's like, you know, Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury. They're all Fords technically. So. Here's a quick side note. One, I just took the Barrage off, put my Reflex back on, so now I'm set back up for doing my CQC work and home defense. So that's done. But one of the questions that I get asked a lot, whether it be online or when people come in and they buy these others, is what kind of ammo should I buy for it? Well, I get it. There's boxes and boxes of ammo. They're all different. So, test it out. 4 types of rounds that we generally carry. Here you go. Alright, so this is the target. You might be wondering what it is. It's actually just a stack of paper. One of the young guys that works here was making a bunch of packets for our pistol class, and unfortunately he screwed up a bunch of packets, so instead of wasting the paper, figured I'd shoot at it, hoping it'll slow the rounds down and we'll be able to retrieve the rounds. Though I'm thinking the steel core is probably just going to punch right through it. So we'll see. So camera's further back and it's zoomed in, so at least the camera won't get hit with anything. All right, let's get started. All right, so I pulled you guys off the tripod. So I tried to step the rounds down, trying to avoid them all instead of having them go straight across. Just this way we could see on the backside. And on the backside, okay, so here's a better view. This was regular FMJ. So solid copper, soft metal lead, right? Just a full metal jacket, and it made this hole. The Creedmoor green tip, which is, like I said, just a plastic tip, did this. The hollow point, where it's hollow inside, I don't know if you guys can see it, made this hole. And then the regular steel core green tip made this hole. It just looked like it punched straight through, and it didn't care. Nothing slowed it down. Okay, well, that was a really fun video to shoot. So I've got the rounds we actually tested here. I'm going to do my best when I show them to the camera to get them to focus. Bear with me, it may or may not work. Alright, so the first one we shot was an FMJ, right there. So it's just a solid lead bullet with a copper jacket, full metal jacket. No big deal. The brand was actually Winchester. It's a good round. It did its job. The round that really surprised me, though, was the competition round. So it's a green tip, but it's not a real green tip. As you can see right there. Oh, it doesn't want to focus. There we go. So that green tip is actually just a piece of plastic. I'm thinking that when the green tip went in, since it's just plastic, it got ripped off, which obviously left a big opening in the bullet itself, which caused it to mushroom out and really spread, and that's why it blew the back of that paper out, and none of the other rounds did. This went in small and definitely came out bigger. I saved one round because we have no more in stock right now, but I've got one round. I think we're going to try and get some ballistics gel, or maybe I'll just make some homemade ballistics gel, and then we'll put this round through it to see what kind of cavitation it'll make. The next one, oh, let me show it to you. So it's right there. That's what that plastic green tip was. It was the Remington, it was 223, Creedmoor ammunition, premium cartridge, precision. Like I said, it's for competition shooting. At least that's what I was told. Take it from a grain of salt. Some of these old guys just make up stuff. So the third round was shot, which I thought was going to do a lot of damage. Did a little bit of damage, not as much as that green tip, but it is a hollow point. Basically, it's FMJ, but it is a hollow point. It's not going to want to focus. So... Alright, well that was a waste of 5 or 6 seconds. But trust me, it's a hollow point. It's a very small opening. That's why I don't think this one spread open as far as when the little plastic tipped one did. Then the last round we shot was your basic steel core green tip. Really good at penetration. This combined with speed beats armor. That's a good run. And no, steel core penetrating rounds are not illegal when in rifle calibers. Now, pistol calibers, that's a problem. But rifle calibers, like 5.56, it's not. And these were, oh, before I forget, the hollow points were Barnes Vortex. So they're supposed to mushroom. I don't know how well it did. And then the green tip, the steel core, was the PMC X-Tank. I usually use these just because I want penetration. That sounds really bad. What we always get asked basically is, if I'm going to use it for home defense, what round should I use? Should I use FMJ? Should I use whatever I can get? Hollow points or the steel core? Okay, so here's the deal. They're all going to go through whatever you're shooting and a few walls. The hollow point might stop faster. Green tip's going through your house and the neighbor's house. FMJ is definitely going through your house. Unless it hits a few studs, then it'll stop. The Creedmoor, I think, would probably stop after a wall or two. Your best bet, and we can't get it, and we've been looking, is you get frangible ammo. The frangible ammo is designed to, when it hits something soft and squishy and wet, it falls apart and just disintegrates. Which, it's great when it goes in because it makes a massive cavitation and then pieces go everywhere. So that's good for home defense, especially if you don't want it punching through a wall, but you definitely want to stop any threat that is coming into your home. So generally though, we carry these 4 types of ammunition. Except for today. Today we have none of it. We have no 223. We have no 5.56. We have none of it. So that was my side note. So I know we started talking about scopes, and then we went into the ammunition. I didn't know where to stick it. It wasn't enough to kind of make its own video. And trying not to be like, oh look, he's imitating Demolition Ranch, where he's just shooting random objects, because the management here would freak out if I was doing that, and I'm not about to even remotely get anyone upset. So that's that. Alright, that's all I have for this video. I promise, that's it. I don't know if it's going to be long or short, but this is it. So you guys stay safe out there in the fray. I'll see you on the trail. Here's the outro.